Hey, welcome to Power Players. I have today with me Brad Sugars, all the way in from around the world. This guy has been to, how many countries have you been to? I know you're doing business in 75.
We do business in 75. I've been to 56, 57 countries.
Good guy in Vegas, lives in Vegas now. His company is Action Coach, right? Action Coach?
Action Coach.
Action Coach. Brad Sugars is the name. Millions and millions of dollars. When I tell you millions, like, first of all, he doesn't work. So any of you out there that want to make money and not work hard, this guy, I brought him in here to teach me how to do that because I don't know how. Great to have you here.
Good to be here, buddy. Okay. Really good to be here.
So the accent's Australian.
Australian by birth. My wife's from Massachusetts, so now we centered in Vegas, and that's sort of the
Where did you meet her?
I met her in Vegas, funnily enough. You know,
where'd you grow up?
Grew up in Brisbane, Australia.
Okay, that's the Gold Coast, right?
Just near the Gold Coast, yeah. Summit on the Gold Coast. The
like
Gold
California
Coast,
weather?
Beautiful California style weather, but the water's warmer, so you can actually swim without that cold water. It's got like the Florida warm water with the...
So how do they get the great whites there? Don't they
they're generally on the southern part of the country, down Adelaide, South Australia.
And it gets cold. The further south you go, the colder it gets.
Australia geographically is 80% as big as the United States. So down the bottom it's dang cold, and up the top it's tropical. It literally is.
Okay. So I've been to Sydney.
Wonderful city.
Drove up to Cairns.
You drove all the way?
Townsville, because you guys had a jet strike. That was back in the years where all the airlines were on strike.
Yeah.
And I was going up there to do a dive trip, but enough about me. So, grew up in Australia. Your parents did what?
My dad was an accountant, ran a piping company for many, many years. Mom took care of us boys. I had two brothers. That was her thing. And Dad eventually got the golden handshake and got to retire, and then built his own business. Again, still in the piping business, manufacturing pipes and fittings and stuff like that.
Were you the oldest, youngest, or
middle child?
Middle
child.
So you were ignored?
Oh yeah,
right? Ignored?
No, not really.
Yeah, I know. I'm a psychiatrist.
We were lucky. I had a good mom who was there for us all the time. And, You know.
And so when did you get the entrepreneurial bug? I mean, when did you know that you were? The sugar man.
I'm pretty sure I always had it. I remember when I had my first ever thing was the newspaper, selling and delivering newspapers as a kid, and then working out that I should employ my friends to do it rather than me do the work and that sort of thing. But it really kicked in. Age 16, I won the Rotary Youth Leadership Award in my area, Ryla. The Rotary Club does this thing, and so I got a 1 week, they sponsored me for a week to go to a course on success and leadership and all that stuff. And it got me reading, it got me learning, it got me understanding. And I think that the first thing I saw after that was Jim Rohn was coming to town in Brisbane City Town Hall. And I remember as a kid paying, I forget how much, but it was hundreds of dollars as a 16-year-old to go see Jim Rohn.
Wow.
And I'm pretty sure I took more notes than any person in the room. I tried to transcribe every single word the guy said, and I ran down after him and got him
from English to Australia.
Oh yeah, got him to sign my notes at 16 years of age. And I asked him one question. I said, Mr. Rohn, what's one thing that'll guarantee me to be a success? And he said simply, son, read a book a week for the rest of your life. And that one just, and I think the good thing about being 16 and kind of naive enough is that, you know, you just take that and you just do it. You don't try and question it. Someone in their 40s goes, yeah, that sounds good.
But I got to do it like this, or maybe 52.
My way is
this, or if it's 52, I'll do 104. You're saying the older person tends to want to tweak stuff, where younger guys like whatever you say.
I was lucky enough that I was naive enough and young enough to just do what I was told. When you find a great mentor and they tell you to do something, it's probably a good idea to just do that.
So let me ask, what do you think caused you to end up in a room with Jim Rohn, Success Seminar, 16 years old, and then this ends up becoming something you really do in your whole life for the next, how old are you now?
46.
Yeah, so for 30 years now. You've been doing this Jim Rohn kind
learning, teaching, building companies. I love building business. I just love it. I think that part of the learning, I remember it, and I go back, buddy, I know when I decided I was going to be rich. I was 13 years old.
Okay.
Lived in Adelaide in South Australia. And the cool thing at the times, now here's where I'm going to age myself, okay? The cool thing was Levi's 501 jeans. Do you remember that phase in life where Levi's 501s, they were the coolest thing.
Did you get new ones?
I didn't get any.
Oh.
Because when we moved to Adelaide, my mom was like, no, I'm not into cool, I'm into what we can afford. And what we could afford was corduroy jeans from Kmart.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you ever worn corduroy pants, but
Totally did.
13-year-old kid, when you move and your legs make that noise, you're the new kid in school. I'm tall, lanky, I'm the new kid. And I got 2 brothers, so we moved to this school. I end up getting into a fight with some kid, get in trouble, principal yelling at me, mom yelling at me. And in my head, it was because I couldn't get them pants. That was the 13-year-old logic, you know, because as a 13-year-old, you want to fit in. You move to a new school, and we moved a lot as kids. We moved around schools because my dad got promotions and stuff. And so, you know, I'm sitting there, and I remember going to my room and slamming the door and just thinking, I'm never going to not have enough money to buy whatever I need whenever I need it. I'm going to do the work. I'm going to do what it takes. And that... You know, there's a time in life when you make decisions like that, and I think the challenge for a lot of people is they never actually make the decision. You know, success is not about just changing things; it's about making a decision to be successful.
Yeah. So now, do you think you would have lost the fight? You would have won the fight, I'm sorry, if you had the 501s?
I don't think I would have had the fight if I had the 501.
Okay.
That's my 13-year-old logic.
Yeah.
You know,
Okay,
these days I know that I was going to get in a fight no matter what. You're the new kid in school. Someone's going to pick on you.
You have this instant idea, I'm going to get rich. Is that different than whatever your dad was doing at the time?
Yeah, my dad ran great companies for other people.
Did
I
he
remember
make money?
learning when I met Mr. Rohn, I remember learning to change my goals, because my goal then was a negative goal. It was to get out of being in a bad situation. And unfortunately, most humans never learn to get into positive goal setting. Their goal is, I don't want to work that much, I don't want to be broke, I don't want to be overweight. And we all know if you use the words don't, not, no, and but, you're basically getting what you're saying with that. Whereas Mr. Rohn taught me that you got to have positive goals. And that's where I sat down. And I remember leaving Jim Rohn's seminar saying, I'm going to retire by the age of 25. And that's where, you know, people are like, you're crazy. How can you retire?
Isn't that a negative goal?
Oh, I think retirement's a wonderful thing. You know, I know you love working your butt off, buddy, but I'm Australian. We like lifestyle.
How long have you been retired?
I've been semi-retired since I was 30.
Yeah.
So when my first child was
you've
born,
even lived this long. Tell me you don't get bored. Tell me you don't get bored.
Buddy, I do sometimes, but then I go and buy another company.
Well, so you're not retired?
Well, I'm semi-retired. I like buying companies. I invest in guys and gals that have great business ideas, but need either capital or need knowledge to take it around the world, you know. I look at business today very different to the way I did back then. See, when I first started, I thought business was about me being busy. And then I realized that my definition of a business is a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you. If I got to be there...
Say that again so everybody hears that, because I do like this idea.
Yeah, a commercial, profitable enterprise that works without you.
Yeah.
So the idea is to build, because... See, for a business to be worth something, it needs to be a saleable asset.
Right,
for it to
not
be
dependent
saleable,
upon a personality.
Yeah, if it's dependent upon a single person, then the business is not saleable. Or if it is saleable, it's saleable for a lot
just
less.
So you guys know, here in America, it means sellable. It means marketable. It means we can exchange for money.
Yeah.
Or he says that over there, saleable. We're not sure who's right on it.
You know, it's a fun thing. My wife makes fun of me every day about it. My kids, they're all like, Dad, that's not the way you say it.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it's the way I grew up saying it.
You know what you tell your kids?
What?
Hey, I'm the only one that's paid to speak. I'm paid to speak. You're paid to listen. Okay.
Yeah.
So,
so
you're
if you
saying,
finish a business, to finish it, when I define the word finish to business, it means that the business is able to work without the owner. Like you can take a 6-month vacation and you'll come back and it'll be bigger and stronger and better than when you left.
And everybody loves this idea, right?
Look,
but you didn't
when Tim
do this...
Ferriss wrote The 4-Hour Work Week, it was like a bestseller, and then everyone's like, well, how do you actually do that type thing? And that's part of what I look at, is how to actually do that stuff.
Yeah. So where did you go from 13, 16, going to the conference? Like, what was your first deal, your first business? Like, when did you start making any money?
I was into all sorts of things. So everything from clothing stores to dry cleaning stores to salons, beauty salons.
So you tried a bunch of different things.
What I did is I found broken companies and fixed them. So every broken company, when you fix it, it's worth more.
Yeah.
So if it's running badly and you go in and buy it, and this is the thing about capital with business. See, the reason why business is such an amazing return and why venture capital funds venture capital funds are buying businesses for one reason.
Right.
The value of the asset is determined by the profitability. If you know how to double the profit, then you just doubled the value of the asset.
Right.
If you know how to triple it or quadruple it, and that's where you look at guys like Warren Buffett. That's
or
his whole
Blackstone.
fortune. Any of those, their fortune is based on a very simple philosophy. If we can double the profit, we double the value of the asset. Now, the fact that they're publicly traded companies and the asset valuation is immediate is amazing for them.
Yeah.
So,
But your first business, I mean, you weren't thinking about capital, buying a company when you're 16, 17, 18
No,
years
I'm
old.
thinking
I'm looking for
products
your
and-
first deal. What was your first deal?
So when I was 6, my first ever one was doing pizzas. We manufactured and wholesaled pizzas.
Okay.
My buddy Joe has a good recipe. He knew how to do it because he grew up Italian. And then, hey, presto, we come together, we build a business.
Yeah, and then y'all went and sold pizzas.
We sold pizzas through supermarkets.
And then
we
how'd
did
you
all
get
that
out
sort
of
of
that
stuff. Well, that deal we sold on and then moved to the next one.
Yeah.
And this is the whole thing. And at some point in the middle there, I attended a seminar with Robert Kiyosaki. And I don't know why, but for some reason, Robert liked me. And he said, teach me a little bit about what you're doing and how you're doing it. Because when you're young in business and you make some money, people kind of ask you, what are you doing? How does a young person make money type thing?
Right.
And Robert then asked me to speak, and I found my passion in life. My passion is teaching. That's what I love doing. It's the thing that gives me, kind of like you love helping people.
Yeah.
You know, you guys help so many people, it's not funny. And that's what my company at Action Coach, you know, our goal is to create world abundance through business re-education, one business at a time, every place we go. Because I know that if you create more employers, you get more employees immediately. And so.
And the thing you're doing differently than what I've done, because you made a joke before this about, you know, maybe you can share that with them, but you
Well, hang on, let me tell the joke first, because this guy is so good, but doesn't have a license structure, a franchise structure, no opportunity. I love you, buddy, but we got to get you international on a different scale. We got to get you franchise licenses, because how many of you out there would love to be part of 10X? You'd love to be a Grant Cardone partner, yes? Please write below this video, Grant, yes, please do licensing, okay?
He wants to basically do a license deal with me where we go and give other people the opportunity to sell
I think that
where you become a Cardone trainer, right?
That's right.
And that's what you've done extremely well with, where you saw an opportunity like, hey, rather than doing one Sydney seminar, why don't you give people around the globe an opportunity?
I was like you in the beginning. In my hometown of Brisbane, I was doing 13 seminars. I was doing 13 different venues where I was doing a seminar every single week. I was doing it live. I remember, back in the day, you remember
how
tapes?
How often were you doing this?
I was doing more than 200 gigs a year.
Yeah.
So 200
So you've been
events.
retired a long time.
Oh yeah, those days 200 events a year. I remember 200 nights in hotels, 200 flights a year,
totally.
all that stuff. And I love the fact that we both go back to having tape sets and having dubbing machines and all that sort of stuff. I mean, back in that, but I've been teaching this stuff now for a long time, and what I've learned is that a business owner is an amazing person, because they take on a responsibility that very few people are willing to take on.
Yeah.
But the challenge is they're really good at the thing of business. You know, they might be a great locksmith, or they're a great doctor or stuff like that, but they don't have the knowledge of how to be a great business person. And so that's really what I've had my passion for many years, is teaching people how to be great.
Which comes back to growing the profits.
Correct.
And figuring out how to sell that at some point, or making it more marketable.
Build it to something that works without you. You can still work if you want to, but you have the ability to sell it should you ever want to. You have an asset that's saleable.
And great entrepreneurs, other power players that have sat here, all have the ability to go to different things. Like you say, you've been involved in a lot of different things. If you're a good entrepreneur, you can do more than just one vertical.
Yeah, well, I look at it. One of my companies in Australia is a motor vehicle importing company. Just bought a cleaning franchise business, commercial cleaning. What's the next one that we just bought? See, when I look at business, I look at what I can explode. So down in Texas, actually, the guys there, their clients are yours. I make sure they're on the sales 5 units a day before my sales guys get their leads.
Five segments. 5
segments every day before they get their leads.
What do they do? What's their business?
So that business is property management. So managing real estate for individual investors who don't want to do it for themselves. And the team at Empire do an amazing job. But I found this business, and the guys that run it are incredible. Great knowledge. One office. We're now at 17 offices across Texas. We'll have 103 by the the end of the year, and then we'll go national and have 2,500 offices across the states.
And then will you sell that?
That'll be a saleable item, yeah.
Saleable.
Sellable. Okay, I'll use your words, buddy. See, the thing is, you build an asset that's available for sale.
That other people would pay more money for, because they're like, I could grow this even bigger. If they've done this, one of the things we do with apartments, we go in, we fix them. We don't fix everything, because I want the next guy to say, I can do
a bit more, yeah.
Exactly. Brad Sugars, his company's action coach, he's talking to me. He's down in Miami, came down to visit. I said, look, come down for a Power Players, but I think he's trying to put the switch on me and talk about how to build a business here. You spend most of your time in the States now.
Yeah.
What is the difference? Because I was doing a call with Taiwan this morning, and she's like, it is different here. And I'm like, okay. And then I started.
Do you know how often we hear that statement?
Yeah, tell me about that.
Any country,
how many? 75
countries.
How many of the 75 has said it's different in Germany? It's different.
All 75.
Exactly.
All 75.
The only thing different is
there's a cultural difference in every single market.
Yeah.
But business is business.
Yeah.
You got to have a good product, good customer service, good sales force, good marketing, good finance. The business is business. The principles, the core principles of business are the same no matter where you go. Now, yes, everyone says it's different, and absolutely, the Germans are a little bit different in the way they approach things, but they've still got to do the same things.
The Germans don't laugh at any of your jokes.
Actually, sometimes they do, buddy. You'd be surprised how amazing the Germans are. But I look at our business in Turkey, and where we're just blowing it up in Turkey and that sort of things, and yeah, there's a cultural difference, but the concepts of like, your material, and again, I'm going to plug him, switchy, going on right now. Your stuff in Turkey would be it would blow people away.
Right. Because they don't know how do I call on somebody?
How to
overcome an objection.
What country you live in, objections are objections. Calling on people.
Follow up is follow up.
Doesn't matter where they are.
How do I take a phone call, make a phone call? How do I have a good attitude when I'm getting kicked in the teeth?
So when you ask the question, how different is it around the world? Ultimately, business around the world is basically the same, but you've still got to have the nuances that make it. Like, I wouldn't, and I see this happen. So, like, there was a European company coming into America the other week that I'm chatting with, and they come into America and think we'll just do it exactly the same as we do it in Europe, and they don't take into account the fact that, and the U.S. is 7 different markets again. When you go to the Midwest, it's a different way of doing business than it is down here in Florida.
Right.
New York's a different way of business in California.
Miami's different than Florida.
Absolutely. So you've got to look at the different nuances, and it's one of the reasons why I chose franchising and licensing for a lot of my businesses, is because then you actually get a local gal or a local guy who does understand those nuances. They understand that, okay, this is how you greet people. But I was just in Vietnam doing seminars. I teach the same material in Vietnam, and they all come and go, "Wow, that's amazing stuff."
Right.
It's not that they're different. It's just that they need to learn the same stuff we did as business people. And the greatest thing about business people is they take the risk. The biggest challenge is they think they should learn by trial and error. Me and him have made all the mistakes, okay? Don't learn by trial and error, because that takes way too long, costs way too much money.
I tell people all the time, I said, like, hey, I want a mentor. I said, look, you already have mentors. You don't, you need to learn from people that made mistakes already. You shouldn't make those mistakes.
Hence read the books, hence go to the seminars, hence
and when you see somebody
learning.
Screw up, when you see somebody blow up, when you see somebody, Harvey Weinstein could be a mentor to everyone. Like that
you can learn from what not to do and what to do.
Those have been my best mentors. Okay, I've watched guys, I remember working for this guy, super intelligent dude, one of the best speakers I've ever seen. Had a gambling problem, alcohol problem, I'm like, okay, I don't want to go down that road. Leave the alcohol alone, leave the gambling alone. And become Brad Sugars, Okay, so look, favorite country, other than the U.S., favorite country to do business in?
England.
Why?
The English, they
love Americans?
They pay in pounds, okay?
Okay.
They pay in pounds, and the pound is one of the highest value currencies in the world, so I kind of like that aspect. B, English people are just real easy to do business with. You can do business on a handshake and not be upset with it. It's just a great country to do business in. And there's 60 million people in a very small area as well. I do love doing business in England. But I also love doing business in, That's a real hard one. That's like, which is your favorite kid? I mean, which is your favorite? It's a hard question to answer.
Only if you lie to yourself.
I love doing business down in New Zealand because, I get to go and see New Zealand. I mean, it's such an amazing country to be in. But,
well, I was going to ask you this. So least favorite country. I mean, if you had to pick one, right? Least favorite, like maybe you have bad memories there. Maybe it's not really a bad place to work, but you have bad memories or you weren't successful there.
Oh, see, I love doing business in Mexico, but last time I was down there, I got carjacked and shot at. So, that's probably not a great memory. I love doing business there, though.
Yeah.
Look, I like doing business anywhere where they're straightforward, straight shooters, and do that stuff. I dislike, and I'm gonna, it's the really, Breitling Flying V.
I wonder if you can get a close up of this, man. It's got a lot of stuff going on in this watch.
When Bentley started putting the Breitling clocks in, they made 50 of them to commemorate it. So
that's awesome, man.
And then my wife had these. My wife had these made to match the hourglass with the diamonds going through it. So.
Dude, that's beautiful.
Yeah, Jacob & Co. makes them up in New York. They're a great thing. They're a couple of dollars.
So where do you think the biggest opportunity for me is?
International, buddy. I mean, the U.S., we got to go back. End of World War II.
If you could play that back, if you guys that are watching right now, when I asked him that question and he said international, just watch his eyes dilated, pupils dilated. Like, I think he got a little Woody right there. Like he's watch him. Go back and watch it. Watch what happened to him.
So, if you go back, end of the Second World War, 50% of global GDP was in the United States. Okay, we're now down in the 30s. India by 2030.
You're saying GDP worldwide has expanded worldwide.
Has expanded. Yeah. See, the U.S. has expanded, but the world's expanded faster, like China's expansion. Yeah. But India is the country I'm most excited about. That's where I'd love to see you in India. It'd be the first country I want to see you in.
I'd love to see the people in India.
Now, the reason I say that is by 2030, India is probably going to be the global biggest economy. India right now, 65% of Indians are under the age of 35. So whereas America's aging out,
Chinese are aging, right?
Japan's aging out, China's aging out.
Yeah.
India is the millennial generation is coming through in massive waves. So you got to sit there and look at that opportunity level.
Yeah.
See, ultimately, I know for me, my businesses, 80% of my income comes from outside the U.S. Okay, in all the
that
other
money's taxed when it comes in, though, right?
Yeah. You got
U.S. rates.
Taxes is you got to pay taxes. Like that's just paying your fair share for doing that.
Unless you buy a big plane at the end of the year.
Well, and then you get your write-offs and all that stuff. Absolutely, but. The government does that for a reason here. They want people to buy planes to keep that industry moving, to keep employment up. That's employment's a very important part of all the tax structure in any country. But India, that market is huge. The African market is growing hand over fist.
I got a lot of fans in Africa.
Love the African market. But Europe, when you see how Eastern Europe is opening up and how Russia is opening up too, there's so much opportunity there. So, international is where I see Cardone being...
Now, does that require me to go, get on a plane and go to Russia, go to Poland, to go to Africa?
If I was going to be your partner in Russia, I would kind of want to see you come to Russia and say good day and say hi, everyone.
Good day.
That's Australia.
Good day, I'm out of here. Let's take a shot of vodka.
But ultimately, sometimes, you're going to need to get on the plane and go see it. But then you can also take the kids and
they need to see the world.
They can go see the world.
Okay,
travel school the kids, buddy.
What piece of advice, whether a person, the thing that you asked Jim Rohn when you were 16, hey, Jim, what do I need to do to be successful? What would you tell the audience?
Oh, follow Jim Rohn. Ultimately in business doesn't get easier, you get better at business.
Yeah.
And as you get better at business, you start making more money, you get better people. I remember going back to, as a kid, my dad saying to me real blunt, because about 20 years old, I said, Dad, I just can't get good people. Can't hire good people. My dad's a blunt human being. He just turns to me and goes, Brad, you get the people you deserve.
Yeah.
And I'm like, what? He said, you're an average manager running an average business. When you become a great leader and run a great company, great people want to work for you.
Right.
So business success, the simplest way I can put that is that you build great people, they build a great company. And if you're the only great person in your business, then you're the one working your tail off all day, every day for the rest of the time. Build really good people around you.
How do you do that, though? I mean, it sounds like a postcard. Build really good people.
You got to hire good, and again, you got to get good at recruiting.
But you're saying you don't actually hire people.
I definitely
you buy companies that already have people.
Yeah, and then I teach them how to hire more, because when you put it in a growth company, hiring people is a major part of the success of that business.
Yeah.
So how you hire people and how you recruit. See, most people's recruiting is not actual recruiting. It's just, hey, we got a job vacancy, quick, run an ad.
Yeah.
You wouldn't do that if you're a sporting team.
Yeah.
You know, you go out and recruit the best in the industry.
But I have money to do that if I'm the New England Patriots. I have money. The people that are watching this, they don't have the budget.
So hire good and make great. What's your training program with your team? How do you build them? See, this is where what you do, and again, why we use your program in one of my companies, is because we've got good salespeople. We don't want good salespeople.
Yeah,
we want great. We want amazing.
Right,
we want
right.
10x sales guys and gals, right? So if you can build the people, they build the business. And that's ultimately what every great CEO or great leader of a company done. You look back at GE, you know, Welch, that was his
They cut their
thing.
dividend by 50% today. Might be a bad example.
But, well, today it's a bad example. But when he was what did he do?
Yeah.
He built great
Well, he was
people.
a dominator.
Yeah.
He was a dominator. He says, hey, no reason to play in a space that you can't dominate in.
That's right.
You agree with that?
Number one or number two?
Yeah, exactly.
know?
Dominate.
So-
Brad Sugars, Las Vegas, Nevada is his hometown now. Okay, why there? Why Vegas, man?
Well, it's the most fun city in America, and being
Yeah.
Australian, fun is a high priority for us.
Yeah.
I think second of all, lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's a great lifestyle in Vegas. My friends all come visit from all around the
People
world.
love to go to Vegas, right?
You know, it's just a wonderful city. Most people have never been to the city of Vegas. They've been to the Strip.
Right.
They've never been to the city of Vegas. Like last time we
Have I
chatted,
ever
we were
been to
down
the
on-
city?
I don't think. We got to get you out to home one day.
Yeah, give me that. Now
Jared
you
was
and
out
I,
at home with us the other day.
Oh, was
so,
he?
yeah.
Okay, out of your house.
Yeah.
30,000 square foot home.
It's just
Okay, how many levels? 3 levels?
4.
4 levels. Dude, who needs a 30,000 square foot home?
Hang on, I got 4 kids.
Yeah. So
You,
what?
you got to have a whole bunch of room.
I
for
was
them.
one of
But you
5
don't
kids,
need
and
stuff,
we grew
buddy.
up in a 1,400 square foot home.
Correct. So did I.
You and I share a similar experience in Vegas.
Yeah.
Where were you? You want to just pick that up?
I was right in the middle.
Yeah.
So yeah, last time
He was at
we
Ralph-
got to chat.
Yeah.
He was staying at the Mandalay. I got and saw you in the morning. I'd been to the concert the night before. Went to the concert again that night, and
I said, dude,
Sunday
why don't you
night-
come? Let's do dinner tonight. We're gonna have dinner. We're gonna have these people over. And no. I love country and western music. I'm like, okay, well, you can listen to it on the radio. We got radios in this country, and he's like, no, I got to go across the street.
I had a bunch of friends in town. We had a great old time.
Yeah.
But
he was at the event where the shooting took place.
yeah, Route 91.
Yeah. So
We were dang lucky. In fact, I'll tell you how lucky we were. My buddy yesterday, who was with me and where we took cover, he went there yesterday and saw where they'd cut out a 2 foot by 2 foot square in the siding of the thing, where the bullets had gone through. Because
Wow.
when we were, you got to remember, in the middle of that, there was no knowing what's going on.
right.
You don't know. All you can hear, and you couldn't hear. First few minutes, I heard pop, 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 maybe 4. And I'm looking around, and there's a guy in front of me who's carrying a backpack. He's a photographer, and he's looking around too. And then there's a security gal down there, and she's looking around. I'm going, what was that? Was it fireworks? And then all of a sudden, it's just full automatic gunfire, and the music's still playing. And I turned to my buddy Marshall, because he's ex-military, been under gunfire, all that stuff. And I go, dude, is that gunfire? He goes, nah, it's not gunfire. And then the music stops, and we see Aldine run off the stage. And then when the music stops, you can just hear it, and you go, holy.
Now you can. Now it's.
So we got everyone into the area where we could get cover, and I've now watched back, and it was tough to watch, but I watched back. The New York Times did a great thing where it showed his 12 different shots over 11 minutes. Like he had 12 different shooting barrages over 12 minutes, over 11 minutes. And it started to help me make sense of what I went through and because we got down for cover. I had my wife between my legs and had her head between my arms, and the woman next to her screaming out prayers. And he stopped, and I stuck my head up above the thing that we were looking at, and I don't want to ever even contemplate trying to tell people what you see, but you see the worst of the worst. Unless you've been in the military, I doubt you'd ever see anything like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Want to, huh?
Or want to, you know, you don't. Yeah. and the bullets are coming through the top of where we're at, and you can see the bullet holes. And there was a pause. There was 2 pauses in his gunfire of about a minute each. And I now know that. At the time, and you got to remember, we didn't know if there was 100 people shooting, 20 shooting. We didn't know where they were.
In the hotel.
There was nowhere in the world you consider that they're up high.
Yeah.
Nowhere in the world you consider a sniper. You know, so at some point, some guy rips the door open to the little structure that we'd taken cover in and yells, "Get out, get out, get out." And I got my wife out first, and I got everyone else out, and Marshall and I came out last, and my wife was running because there was a parking lot across the street, and we knew, and we'd made a deal that if we got out, we'd go, because we could see Hooters, the big sign of Hooters Hotel, go there. That's where if we get split up, that's where we'll meet. And he started shooting again, and Lauren was running. The guy next to her got tagged through the leg. He went down. She kept running, and Marshall and I had to dive for cover behind, you know those concrete barriers they use on roads? Sure. We dove under one of them, or dove behind one of them. And the people you saw running and being carried and shit, you're just sort of going, my wife's gone. And she's gone. She's run. She's gone. Yeah. So she took cover under a car. She got in the middle of the parking lot because again we didn't know, and I'd lost her, and I'm screaming her name and yelling and trying to find her and thinking maybe Marshall said she probably went to Hooters, so we just started running that way, and it's just panic. And
you're separated from her for how long now?
At least 11 minutes. I know that because
so you're just like,
from the first time I tried calling her, and everything's jammed. There's no way you're getting phones out there. And finally I got her on the phone. I went, "Are you at Hooters?" And she said, "No, I'm hiding under a car." And I turned and hightailed back. And by this time the cops had set a perimeter, and they said, "You can't go past here." And I'm like, "But my wife's in." He's not.
Yeah, dude.
So I had to stop there. I'm trying to reach her on the phone, and I can't get her. And he starts getting bandages out because that guy's got a bullet hole through his hand, and that gal's got it through a leg, and then that one's arms and shoulders. And I'm just handing shit out from his trunk of his cop car, and then the SWAT comes through. There's 12 guys running behind the SWAT car. And there's an undercover cop, plain clothes, rips out his badge and shows them, "I'll come with you." And they're like, "No, you stay here and take the traffic," because at this time people are jumping in their cars and they've got dead. They're trying to get to hospitals and shit, and they're just on the horns, and the traffic then became a big. So 5-10 minutes, I reach her on the phone, and she's gotten out from the car, and she's with a group, and they've taken cover in amongst these apartment buildings, and finally my brain kicks in, and I went, "Holy shit, I know how to find her." Because when my kids I got to find my iPhone. I literally pulled it up on my iPhone and found where she was.
Located phone.
Yeah, I located her phone, and then I knew where she was, and I got all turned around. I ran in the wrong direction first, and then I ran down the other way, because running in cowboy boots is not fun on asphalt. But I got to her, and then we just ran, and my buddy Marshall at his office was not far, and he got to his car, and he came, grabbed us up. We ran to Topgolf. We just kept running. And scary as shit.
I'm glad you're all right. I mean, I know it was a harrowing, experience for you. What time did you get home?
I don't recall.
Yeah.
I don't recall. I know that. All I can say is we were the luckiest of lucky.
Yeah. But bad things happen on this planet, man. I'm glad, because the day before, that afternoon, I saw you, right? And then I'm like, he's going to this deal, and so, I mean, bad things happen to good people every day, and I think it's important.
We were lucky. Yeah. But I think it's important that
you're living your life every day.
People humanize what goes on too, because it's easy with the amount of shit that happens today to not humanize it, to dehumanize yourself with it. Because then a few days later you get the guy in New York, and a few days later the Texas, and it's like you can dehumanize that, and you've got to humanize these things, because my therapist said it real plain. I don't like talking about it, but she said if you get asked about it, you got to talk about it, because it's the only way you get through it.
Yeah. Well, I know in my life, dude, you got to talk about it, and you got to confront the issue that, bad things happen to good people. Bad things happen on this planet. It's full of people. I wonder why more bad things don't happen, frankly.
Because there's also a lot of damn good people. There's also a lot of real good people out there. And
you're out there reaching them around the world. So I want you to help me reach them around the world.
Done.
Because good people speak all kinds of languages. all types of races, all types of religions, and they're not all just in America.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, we're going to, every one of you out there that's not in the U.S., everyone in the U.S., you know you already love him, but I got to get the world to love his stuff and see his stuff because it changes. It changes people.
Brad Sugars, okay, company's action coach. Check him out. What social medium do you love the most?
Mostly I'm Facebook and Instagram.
He doesn't use any of them.
I'm Facebook.
He doesn't use any of them. Okay.
I'm a little older school. I'm getting there, buddy.
He's younger than me.
You
He's
teach
younger
me
than me.
that. You teach me that side. I'll get to the other side.
I will teach you that side, okay? Hey, thanks for watching Power Players. I look forward to the day that you're in power in your life. If you have questions for Brad, post them in comments below. If you want to know how to hook up with him, how to do something with him, just let me know in comments and I'll make sure he gets your information. Brad, thanks again. And I look forward to the day you're sitting in the chair he's sitting in.